Welcome back to the grind for some Odin gameplay as promised. Look at that 20,000 heavy attack, and then we're going to follow that up with a huge special too. We're going to get that dexterity buff on us first, throw that off for a 43,000 crit and over 180,000 burst damage. So how do you build up Odin and get this damage? Well, if you look up in the top left corner where the passive buff is, it looks like a spear, and now we just activated Odin Force. So this triggers every time you knock the opponent down. Every time you use it, it'll go back to 0, and then when you knock them down again, you'll start to build up, and you need 2 charges to get the extra benefits off your special 1, your special 2, your special 3, and your heavy attack. The special 1 will give you the extra block proficiency in addition to True Strike, and then you want to throw it off again after you knock them down with your special attack in order to get the Odin Force active again. Now that we've used our heavy attack with Odin Force active, we got extra energized buffs, so our power gain is going to be much faster. Once again, we have to knock them down in order to get 2 more Odin's Force, and now we're building up to our special 3. So the rotation is you knock them down to get 2 Odin Force, and then you use your special 1, then you knock them down several times to get Odin Force, get the extra energize, then back to Odin's Force, and then throw off your special 3, and then once you get your special 3, you're going to double some of the buffs on you, and if you have Odin's Force active when you throw the special 3, you get a buff extend, which increases the duration of the buffs, allowing you to more easily refresh them with your special 2, which is also where you get the damage. So now that we knocked him down with our special 3, we have to knock him down one more time, so we're countering the heavy attack to get back our Odin Force ready. Now we want to build up to 2 bars of power, and excuse the mistake there, but we're building up to 2 bars of power. Now we're going to try to dex to get a dexterity buff, because that extra buff will increase our burst damage as well, and boom, look at that damage. The damage is ridiculous, and it is percent based on the number of buffs that you have, but it does hit a cap, so you can't hit these ridiculously high numbers, but it is quite high and very nice. So Odin has some insane damage. Look at all the buffs that he has, so he's great for buffed up or cornucopia if you like incursions, but this damage is really good, and it also feels nice within story content. It doesn't feel like the ramp up is super long because you have the energized buffs allowing you to build power more easily, and in shorter fights you don't have to go to your special 3, and I tested that against Winter Soldier. Even in the Winter Soldier fight with that amount of health, it is about the same amount of time and hits to simply throw off special 2s. The difference is instead of throwing a special 3 and then 2 special 2s, you end up throwing 3 special 2s. Now, because you have to throw heavy attacks to knock them down frequently, you in matchups with stun immunity, you'll have to get good at baiting heavy attacks and countering, or countering special attacks. But here we dexed to get that extra precision buff. Now we're throwing off our special 2, we're getting some huge burst damage, but watch here now, we're throwing it off without the precision buff, and we're only getting 162,000 damage. Now once again, we're going to build up to our special 2 after knocking him down, we're going to trigger the dex for the precision buff, and then we're going to throw off the special 2 and see the damage that we're getting, and it's 185,000 burst damage in addition to that 43,000 crit, and that's more than 20,000 additional burst damage just from triggering that extra precision buff before throwing it off. Now we're not going to watch this entire fight, but look at the damage we're doing against Red Hulk as well. He has a smaller health pool, but we're still getting 185,000 burst damage, and that's allowing us to take down this Red Hulk in Labyrinth of Legends in just over 100 hits. So not too bad, and I think it was about 2.5 minutes. But now let's take a look at some story content fights. So in this fight we have Mixmaster, Hit Me I Dare You, and Armored Assault. So after we hit him 10 times, he's going to get an armor up buff, and then he's going to be unblockable with all his hits. And he also has Mixmaster. So first we're going to do most of our ramp up with parry heavies while he's not unblockable, and then we're going to throw off our special 1, and we won't have to worry about Mixmaster at all. So right now you see we've got our energized buffs up. Now we've got our Odin Force ready. We're throwing off our special 1 to get the True Strike plus the bonus block proficiency, and we're going straight into another heavy attack to get Odin Force back up again. And you want to stay close to your opponent while you have your buffs active, otherwise they start to decay. If you are close to your opponent, all your buffs are paused, and that's really important important to not lose your True Strike in a matchup where you want to cancel out the evade. And you can refresh it with your special 2 if you need to while you're on your way up to the special 3. And honestly, in fights like this, you don't need to go to your special 3 because it'll be just as fast to throw an extra special 2 instead of your special 3. So as you can see, now we've gotten our Odin Force back up again. We've got all our buffs ready. So now we're building up to our special 2, and we're going to throw off the special 2 for some big damage, but we did make some mistakes, take some hits because he's unblockable. So we're going up. We're going to throw off our special 2 without the precision buff from dexterity, and we get a nice 66,000 burst damage, and he's below 25% now, and we're not really even going to need another, and we messed up spacing there. That's one thing that's really helpful with Odin is getting the spacing down for different champions, heavy attacks and special attacks, and I still got some work to do because he's brand new to me, but now we're getting back up to our second special 2, and you can see we don't really even need the second special 2 fully. So we probably could have just cycled through special 2s instead of going all the way to a special 3 and still ended the fight in a similar amount of time. But that Act 7 fight we did in 56 hits. Now this is another Act 7 fight with redlining, unblockable special attacks, and specialist 2, so we get a little extra damage off the special 2, and we get to our special 2 a little bit faster. So we can't actually throw off our special 3 in this fight, but it ends up being about the same length of fight as well as number of hits in this fight without the special 3, because the special 2 does so much damage that you really don't need to do the special 3 anyways. So I'm going to skip some of the build up here, but we're building up now to our first special 2 after we got the buffs off special 1, because we still do want those buffs to maximize the burst damage on the special 2, and we get a nice 66,000 burst damage, or 64,000 burst damage. Skipping ahead to our next special 2, and just to cut down on some of the time here, we're skipping through a bit, but you can see how fast you get up to that special 2 from 1 bar of power, and the damage is just nuts, and 50 hits to finish off the fight. So Odin is a ton of fun to play. He's got insane damage, he's got tons of buffs, he even has a very effective True Strike mechanic that you can keep active the entire fight. So he's a great True Strike champion and one of the limited options for that in the Cosmic class. But in addition to that, he's got some really great synergies, and with his pre-fight buffs, he can make some other champions crazy good, which we are going to showcase in future videos. So I'm glad I grinded the arena for him. Keep an eye on the channel, subscribe if you don't want to miss the future videos that I do put out with Odin, as well as some other champions like War Machine coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.